Hi there, welcome to Carolyn Soap Opera. Today I'm going to do a reading for Virgo energy. I am very sure I did your reading, but between you and Pisces, which Virgo and Pisces are on opposite sides of the zodiac wheel, I think one of them I ended up calling Pisces Virgo by the end of the reading, or Virgo Pisces by the end of the reading. And then when I saved them, I noticed I had two Pisces, and so then I listened to them, and no, one was Virgo, and I don't know, between trying to clean up the videos of what I'd recorded for who and what was rightly labeled, yours must have gotten deleted, because I know I did this before. But so, we'll do it again, and see what's going on in Virgo energy. So, Virgo energy. Oh, the reason we're going to do like usual 2 rows. We all have our dualistic nature. We can have our more hopeful, believing, loving nature. The bottom row can represent some of our fears and our insecurities that we could have as we're moving forward that we have to deal with. Sometimes we get in relationships with people, and some of those people have their own fears and insecurities, but maybe they don't work through them, and then we have a problem in the relationship. The other reason why I do the 2 rows, it can represent a lot of things. I'll try to cover as much of it as I can, but as we go through the reading, you'll be able to figure out and apply it. And since there's a screenshot, you can work through it yourself too. But we all have our dualistic nature, and in Virgo energy, we have to decide what our truth really is. Are we more motivated and inspired and hopeful and believing and building a foundation from hope and faith and belief in love and in ourselves and making decisions in our life out of hope and faith and belief in love and listening to our intuition? Or do we kind of give in to maybe our more worldly nature of living more from our mind than our heart, getting caught up in things of the world, so we make decisions more influenced by those? What about the people we're in relationship with? And if you harness a more high vibrational Virgo energy, more motivated and inspired by hope and faith and belief in love, we're going to come in contact with all these different people in the world who we can have a lot in common with. We could have love for each other, but in their Virgo nature, the truth is that they kind of do like to maybe live more from their mind than their heart, which can be our ego nature, can just be our more self-protective, defensive nature. And then we have to determine, am I willing to stay in a relationship? It's one thing to be friends with people. It's another thing to be in a romantic relationship with someone who doesn't authentically want to be more authentic and loving. Shadowy energy can be in our pride and ego, where we don't think we have any lessons to learn. High vibe energy is about willing to get out of your ego, to admit that maybe I do have some lessons to learn, or healing or growing or maturing to do, right? And some other people, not so much. So, let's go look at the top row first. The reason for the top row's reading is the Nine of Cups, which also can talk about independence, and high vibe Virgo is about independence, and high vibe energy is about independence. I become independent from some old ways of living life and viewing life, and my more immature, defensive, prideful, worldly nature, to be more independent of that, to love myself, to have hope and faith and belief in myself and in love. And the Nine of Cups can be that there's some people in our life that we might enjoy, they might enjoy us, but they're still a little bit more about kind of indulging themselves in their more worldly egoic nature, whatever that is. Some of the people are on the same page as us, and some of those people are going to move forward with us, and some people we might have to leave behind. So we have the Knight of Pentacles, which is Virgo energy, the Page of Cups, the Eight of Pentacles, and a card not showing itself, which is the King of Pentacles. So the Knight of Pentacles wants to become the King of Pentacles. I want to grow to my full potential. And in order to grow to my full potential, I have to grow up. I have to grow and heal and mature myself and work through some shadowy nine of cups of Pisces energy where um being caught up in the illusion of the world, harnessing these energies in a more shadowy way, being more caught up in things of the world, more caught up in I want these things of the world, I want to manifest this, I want to manifest that. And sometimes we can get caught up in the illusion of things and people. And, we need to get grounded within ourselves. Are there emotionally in our Pisces aspect these things that we want to manifest? Yes. But we also have to be grounded and practical. That's staying balanced between our Virgo and our Pisces energy. It has to be based on truth and love. And love is to be just and fair, and you're supposed to treat other people the way you like to be treated. It isn't more about one person kind of being more indulged in the relationship. It isn't getting in the relationship more for the status or the ego or the image or these things of the world that we want to manifest. So we invest in, and the Page of Cups, love. And the Page of Cups can be, I'm willing to get to, the pages are like small gestures and offers to people. I'm willing to get to know people. Um, I have a long term goal of, in the Eight of Pentacles, which is also Virgo energy, I want to work together with other people who also are invested in love. And also other people, and Virgo energy is about who do this inner work within themselves to work through their more immature worldly nature of pride and ego and immaturity and self-indulgence, or making the things of the world more important, that they're kind of tipped out of balance where those are the most important things, either them or these things of the world or things they indulge in. That's about a balance, and it's about being self-aware. High vibe Virgo is about being enlightened to the truth, and in high vibe it's supposed to be about love, and love is supposed to be just and fair, and being authentic, working together with people cooperatively, in truth, in love, from love. And the high vibe people, I view the Page of Cups, is that in all three of your emotional water sign energies of Pisces, Cancer, and Scorpio, the truth is you're more invested emotionally from operating from a foundation of love. That's like the cornerstone to the foundation that you build in your life. But for every person who's kind of more motivated and inspired by love, living in a world of duality, there's going to be people who you can have a lot in common with, you can enjoy them, you can love them, you can work together with them in some capacity in community, family, friendships, workplaces, but their truth is different. And the truth sets us free. And sometimes we had friends or family or coworkers or whatever that the truth is it's not really love that really drives and motivates them, and we'll get to that in a minute. So you're investing in people who you feel are more invested in truth and love. Other people want to make offers to work together with you. You just need to, in your water sign energy of listening and being connected in with your emotions and your intuition, to listen to your intuition. There can always be other people I want that I get to know, and other people who want to work with me, and I just need to listen to my intuition about kind of who's who, because the Knight of Pentacles holds one pentacle, and this is the Seven of Pentacles. In between is the Seven of Pentacles, which is Seven of Pentacles is Taurus energy, about people's belief systems and their philosophy of life. Are they kind of more immature, more codependent, want you to be more immature, more codependent? Are they more about the world? Are they trying to tempt you with things of the world to make you be in relationship and work together with them in relationship? It's, if it's a workplace, well, yeah, that's why we're there. We're there to work together for these reasons more of the world. Doesn't mean we still don't want to work with people who are authentic and just and fair and emotionally mature, and sometimes you can work with people and they can be more immature and they think you should work with them and stay at that job even if they are kind of more immature and in shadowy nine of cups kind of have these illusions about what it means to work together with other people. And it's like, I'm going to listen to my intuition about who's who seems in high vibe Taurus to be someone who is who they say they are. They walk the talk. They act with character and integrity. They're not trying to create an illusion about who they are so that I will keep, maybe invest in them more, get in a more involved friendship or relationship with them for their own reasons that really aren't based on truth and love. And who are the people who really do seem like they are who they say they are? They are someone who acts with character and integrity, does emotionally invest in relationships, is self motivated within themselves to work together with people cooperatively, less about the ego and the image or being more about themselves. And there's some people in your life in the King of Pentacles, which can just mean all these different people in our life that we've worked with that we could have at one time viewed as either someone who we thought was more. The kings can kind of represent how male or female, how people are presenting themselves in the world, because people can present themselves in the world any way they want. When we go present ourselves in the world, it's kind of considered masculine energy, but we have to get to know them to kind of see through the illusion of who they are, because emotionally they might be a little more emotionally aligned with their more worldly egoic nature of immaturity, codependent, materialistic, more about themselves. And you cut the people out of your life, male or female, who at one time you did view as someone who you thought was someone maybe that you looked up to, because this is a knight and that's King of Pentacles. You could have viewed them as someone who is more stable, grounded, mature than you were, even if they were the same age as you or younger. It could have been a friend, a family member, a coworker, someone you did want to marry, someone you did marry, someone in your family. Whoever it is, you were willing to, if you ended up seeing over the course of time that they weren't really who they presented themselves as being, because again, the King of Pentacles, people can present themselves like, oh, I'm this stable, grounded, emotionally mature. I'm not prideful. I'm not more egotistical. I'm not more about myself. I'm not more materialistically motivated, but they are. And you kind of see through the illusion that they're not who they say they are. And how were you able to see through the illusion? Probably because you kept investing in offering truth and love to work together with them cooperatively, and it didn't seem to be happening. I was like, well, I thought we were both on the same page. And the other person was kind of hiding that, well, no, I'm really more about these things or me. So you offered love to the situation. And that's how you were able to see the difference between people who create the illusion of love, but they don't really walk the talk. You either are or you're not. You're either just or fair or you're not. You either act with character and integrity or you don't. You're either being open and authentic and working together with me cooperatively or you're not. And you were able to, and then what do you do when you realize that someone isn't who they say they are? Again, you invested in love because love is the answer. You offered love to the situation because love helps you heal. And I've seen that there's some people in my life that, from the 1 to the 8 also is taking back the 7 of Pentacles. There's some people who might want to work with me or that I had been working with, but I saw their truth wasn't to really walk the talk or ready to grow up and mature themselves, wanted to maybe kind of more indulge in a relationship or be indulged. And I'm not going. I'm going to take back my investment in those people from love for what I want to manifest. What they want to manifest is different than what I want to manifest. And their truth is different than my truth. And their long term goals are different than my long term goals. So you were willing to cut some of those people out of your life. And you also probably did the work within yourself to figure out what was it within me that made me be drawn and attracted and keep staying in the relationship with them, because I don't want to repeat that pattern. And we'll all repeat, the bottom row can represent repeating old patterns. I don't want to repeat that pattern again. So there's always going to be people in the world who are a little more shadowy, a little more self-indulgent, a little more immature, more codependent, materialistically driven, whatever, indulgence driven. I need to figure out what it was within me that would make me keep being drawn to people like that or stay in a relationship with someone like that. And part of it could have been some of those people were people in our life when we were a child and we were more codependent on them. But now we're an adult. And, sometimes people like to play like a parent role in our life, even if they're a friend or family member or romantic interest. It's like, I'm not looking for someone to be my parent, and I don't want to be a parent to someone else. I want to be in relationships with people who have grown up, aren't looking for someone to parent them. I want an equal give and take relationship. Well, that means everybody has to quit investing in their more immature, codependent energy to love themselves, become more independent, grow up and mature themselves, be more independent, where you can be in a more balanced, loving relationship. And again, some people don't like that type of relationship. And some people, they're looking for people to be a parent to in a romantic relationship or a friendship. You know, you're supposed to keep being more fearful and confused or whatever, and look to me as the certain type of person. But then if you work through some of your issues and you want a more just and fair and balanced relationship, which you maybe were under the impression it was the whole time, and then when you kind of heal and grow and mature yourself and work through some of your emotional confusion, and you're not looking for someone necessarily to play that role in your life, you just still want them to be your friend or whatever. And then they're like, well, you kind of freed yourself. You did this inner work in your Virgo energy to love and believe in yourself, to work through some of your pain and heartbreak. Now we don't have that kind of relationship dynamic anymore. And now I don't want to be in a relationship with you anymore because I like that relationship dynamic. And, it can all be confusing. But, we really don't know what some people's truth is until we get to know them. We don't know what their truth is until we work through some of our fears and our insecurities and our past pain and heartbreak and our self-learning beliefs. And then when we have kind of grown up and matured ourselves some and healed, well then, it is kind of like we can be on a different page than some other people when we were both on that same page. And then sometimes some of those people don't want to keep moving forward with us. It's just like emotionally maturing yourself. You were a 15-year-old, you were 18, you were 21, you were 25. And when we're in these different friend groups, like, and this continues throughout our life, when we're kind of ready to and have done some work to work through some self-learning beliefs or past pain, heartbreak, whatever, and we're kind of ready to move forward in life a little differently. We've kind of, you could look at every stage of our life that we went through. We thought that was kind of like living the dream. Well, then we don't think that's like living the dream anymore. And I'm kind of, and Pisces can be about our dreams. Well, I kind of completed that phase of life, and now I'm ready to work on the next phase of life. And sometimes when we're ready to face our fears or whatever, or have worked through some issues that some of the things we used to like to invest our time, energy, and effort into isn't kind of what we want to keep investing our time, energy, and effort into, and the other people still do, well, then it is kind of like we're on the same page, right? Or we were on the same page and now we're on different pages. And some of those people are like, oh, wow, you did kind of work through some of these things. I maybe didn't, but because, we can be on different pages with people and people can still be loving and encouraging and supportive. Like, someone could want to go to college, for example. And probably most of us are way past that stage of life. But and other people don't. Well, other people still like, hey, you go do you. Do I want to go do that? No. But hey, I love you. I still want to be friends with you. And we can still get along. Not everybody has to be on the same stage of life, but do we love and value the relationship enough that we accept that what the things that I might want to go invest time, energy, and effort into, and where I'm heading in my life and where you're going in your life can be different, but it doesn't mean, I'm working at this place, you're working at that place, so we don't work at the same place. Does that mean I don't want to be friends with you anymore? No. But for some people, yes. Well, you don't work here anymore. And it's like, when we worked there, we got along. Well, now we're not friends. Well, and that's kind of when, sometimes you see some people who are more fair weather friends. You know, it's like shadowy King of Pentacles is where there really wasn't any substance to it. Created the illusion there was substance there, but there really wasn't. Or that they seem like someone who was more emotionally invested than they really are. It's just kind of more superficial. But right now, you're working with some people who you think are, whether friends, family, jobs, with people who you think are more kind of inspired by some of the same dreams you have. You might not be ready to get in a more formal commitment. You might be, the pages can mean the beginning stages also of relationship. You might be more focused right now because of something that didn't work out in your life to just be more focused on your career. And if you're not in a relationship with someone, you're waiting until you find people who are someone that you seem more compatible with. In the meantime, you might be putting a lot of work and effort into other things that are part of your dream. I want stability and security in my dream. I want to have um, loving, nurturing, supportive friendships and relationships. I want to go enjoy my life daily. Those are the things that are part of my dream that I'm going to focus on. And if I'm not in a relationship and there's not someone around who seems to be someone that I think I want to invest more in, I'm not going to. Where some people will get in friendships or relationships or whatever more because, well, I want to create an illusion. I don't know. We'll talk about it in the bottom row. It bothers them anyway. And some high vibe people are like, if there's not someone around who's more on the same page, I'm not going to get in a relationship just to like create an illusion or, you know, we're emotionally complex human beings. And why would I want to get myself more emotionally involved in people that I know aren't people that I should get more emotionally involved in, you know? I'm just going to cause myself confusion, right? So I'm going to work with the people who seem to be more authentic, more truthful, more balanced, more grounded, more authentic, more loving, and the people in my life who also aren't investing in me that way. I accept the truth of it. The truth sets us free. And the Knight of Pentacles holding the one pentacle in high vibe, the pentacle is I've seen through the illusion. I'm dealing with the truth. People who are motivated and inspired to work together with me cooperatively in truth and love do. And the people who don't. Or that's not their dream, or that's not their idea of the dream life or the dream relationship. I accept the truth of it. And the truth sets me free to invest, to let go of those people, to detach from those people, and focus my time and attention on the people and things in my life with the people who do. So again, there were some people in your life that either have these illusions about what it means to be in a relationship, want to maybe be in a relationship, but it is more for the ego or the image or the status or being more about them or being codependent. And you're like, I don't want to be in a relationship with people for those reasons. So you became independent of those people. And also adding the 1 cup to the 9 of cups emotionally close out a cycle. You get to the 10 of cups, there's a maximum of 10 in every suit. And here we come out with, here we have the Page of Cups, here we have the Knight of Pentacles, both holding 1. There's also some foundation in the 10 of Pentacles that you became independent of. If you are a young person, you became more independent. I'm not looking to my friends or family to, I'm learning how to be that support system within myself. Do I enjoy loving and encouraging and supportive people in my life? Yes, but I've taken over the role of being like my own best mother, father, coach voice to take over that role within myself. In turn, I could be moving forward with those people in my life, but I'm my more independent person. And but you could have also, some people could have become independent of one workplace, the 10 of Pentacles can mean, to go get in a different workplace because some other people had some illusions about how to conduct themselves in the workplace. Or you just realized it wasn't your truth, it wasn't something you really enjoyed, you thought you would, but you didn't. And then the 10 of Pentacles can represent people that maybe had been in our life for a long time, whether friends or family members, but, again, we can go through these stages of life and we're kind of ready to move forward in life differently. Some of those people will continue just like us, move forward with us to go to that next phase of life. And some people are like, no, I'm not, I'm going to stay here. And some of them can even be mad, or just don't, in their philosophy of life, of their Taurus energy, you're moving forward in a way that's kind of like outside my comfort zone, or I don't view life that way. We're kind of really on different pages, and some of those people aren't going to move forward. So let's go look at the bottom row. The reason for the bottom row's reading is the 6 of Pentacles. Like up here, we kind of talked about the 7 of Pentacles is Taurus energy. Everybody has their philosophy of life, of what they think is right and wrong, just and fair, what they're motivated and inspired by. Maybe they're not more independent. Maybe they're more codependent. Maybe they're more about the world, have other people in their life that they're not willing to become independent from, or haven't learned to love themselves, haven't taken over that role in their own life. So, this is, I don't use this deck very often, but it is kind of interesting that this person is handicapped and our ego nature handicaps us. Our fear, our insecurity, our pride, our ego, our unwillingness to deal with the truth, our unwillingness to invest in love, our unwillingness to become more independent, our unwillingness to do that inner work to deal with those things that manipulate us, all those things kind of handicap us. But, when we're in that phase of life, we don't see it, right? Let's go look at the rest of this. We have the 6 of Cups, the 8 of Swords, the 4 of Cups, the Page of Pentacles, the Hangman, the Justice card, and the 7 of Wands. So the 7 of Wands can be that people are defensive to, I'm kind of thinking of doing this inner work and helping themselves, because also in this picture, this person wants to exchange resources with other people, but they're unwilling to. There can be a lot of people who could look to them for things, or Taurus energy can be people who, anybody in their Taurus energy can be about stability and abundance and having a certain status and image in the world. And some people are people who are like, you should come look to me for me to give you these things of the world. They might be very abundant in these things of the world that people want. They could be attractive, they could be charming, they could have social clout, they could have power, money, influence. But some people, because they think they have those things of the world, they don't really have to invest in love. I don't have to do that. I get hurt doing love. I think I have these things of the world. There's going to be other people who want to be in friendship or relationship with me. And same way, there can be workplaces that are like that. They got some shadowy ways about them, and it kind of limits them, but they don't want to see the truth of it. Oh, there'll be other people who want to work here. We can just keep doing things the way that we're doing it. And they get people to come there and work at that job, and then some of those people work with them, and those people move on. But they're unwilling to see the truth. Shadowy Taurus can be stubborn, prideful, unbudging, unwilling to admit, because I might have a certain status image in the world, or full of myself, have these ways of viewing life that I think are just and fair. Other people should think they're just and fair. But other people don't think they're just and fair. Other people in their Taurus philosophy of life saw that love is what makes it all worthwhile. You know, again, to work together with people cooperatively. There's some people in workplaces, it's, a negative work environment, and they think people are going to want to still keep working there. It's like, if I'm going to work here 8 hours a day, I want to work with people who seem to be a little self aware, that they're kind of stubborn or prideful or immature or bossy or controlling or selfish or self centered. I want to work with people who are more self aware and more, it's not like everybody's got to love everybody, but, the page is like, we can put aside our ego nature to work together with people cooperatively. And just because you can be different ages, different viewpoints of life, that kind of makes me think of like, just all the different people in the world, from, uh, well, tattoos, no tattoos, emo, not emo, all the different sexuality, whatever, color hair, whatever, it doesn't matter. Can we all accept that we are here to, and who really cares anyway? You got your life, I got my life. Can we all enjoy each other's company and work together? Yeah. You don't got to live life like me. I ain't got to live life like you. Can I accept that everybody has their free will to live their life the way they want? And we can put aside our differences to work together. Yeah. And in some places, it doesn't even have drastic big things. It's just that some people are quite stubborn or prideful or something. So the Six of Cups can be that some people, they have this way of being. The Six of Cups can be, they repeat a certain pattern emotionally. And the Eight of Swords is Gemini energy about free will. It can just be in their free will. The Six of Cups also in Scorpio can be that some people are emotionally shallow and superficial, and that's our truth. Some other people like to live more from their mind than their heart. Some people have a lot of fear of emotionally giving of themselves. They can give in other ways, but, very defensive to, we've all probably been in relationships where we wish people worked more cooperatively with us, right? And it all, in the past, we could have wanted to work with people, and those people didn't work cooperatively with us in the Four of Cups, right? So we've all been there. For some people, they might have had some worse experiences in their life. Other people who went through things like that, gee, I tried to work with this person. This person doesn't seem to want to work together with me. Well, it can all kind of get us. The Seven of Wands is Leo energy. It can all get us in our ego. But the difference is, we don't want to keep staying defensive and kind of in a mental prison. You know, some high vibe people work through, well, how did I act? How was I being, kind of like analyze the situation, Um, was I working together in a just and fair and cooperative and authentic and loving way? Okay. What about the people I got in relationship with? Did they seem to be being authentic and working cooperatively? You know, sometimes some people, we can get in a relationship with them. We both want to move forward in it. But then what we don't realize, again, in their free will of their Gemini nature of self, of free will, that they might like to be in relationships. They might like us. They might like us to keep staying in the relationship or stay at the job, whatever it is. But in their Gemini nature of self, they don't really, the Four of Cups can be, I don't want to take that cup of love. In the Three of Cups, I will work together with you in a friendship or a relationship or a workplace, but I'm not doing love. I'm not going to invest in love. I'm willing to be in the relationship, but there's these things in the Hangman in a way that they view life and from a perspective that they have, which we might think is kind of upside down logic or thinking or reasoning. And we could view it as kind of immature, because it is a self protective thing, right? I want to be in a friendship or relationship with you, but I don't really want to invest in love. I want to be in the relationship. I want to stay in the relationship. I think this is just and fair. But in turn, I want to be defensive to investing in love. And they could always kind of get up in their head. They can meet people and get in friendships and relationships with people, and they could see that other people are willing to invest in love and love themselves and offer them love. And they can see that those people kind of are more balanced than they are. They did the work to look at life differently, to work through their past pain and heartbreak, their fears, their insecurities, to be more balanced within themselves. And to stand up for themselves that I'm not going to let whatever could have experiences that happened in my life keep manipulating me and handicapping me. I'm still going to keep investing in love. I offered love to those situations to make peace with it. I accept that there's some people in my life that I could have grown up with, that I had been in relationship with, that it didn't work out the way I wanted. I didn't keep staying in my ego about it. I offered truth and love to it, to see that not everybody I want to be in a friendship or relationship with wants to be in a friendship or relationship with me, just like some people who want to be in a friendship or relationship with me. I don't care to get in a more involved relationship. We have to realize that everyone, it's not just about us. We can keep being in our ego about it. We can keep kind of feeling unloved and rejected and stuck. We can do that if we want. But we could look at it that, well, for one, I can try to look at it and try to see, maybe we were all kind of just more immature at one point in time. Not everybody's ready to be in a more emotionally mature, stable, grounded, or more committed relationship at given times in their life. And let me see this card. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. The sevens, there's seven swords here and the eighth sword there. The sevens are kind of those tipping points. I can either stay like this or I can deal with the truth and kind of free ourselves, and free ourselves from the past. We hold the key within ourselves to free ourselves from the past, but some people don't think they do. They haven't realized that yet. And they keep thinking, well, we'll all keep repeating an old pattern over and over. Until we're willing to deal with the truth, we'll keep repeating an old pattern. And some people had some situations in their life where there were some people in their life that they wanted to work with. And, it can it's like a wound that we haven't dealt with yet. And sometimes we didn't even realize, because Pisces energy can be that it's kind of buried in our subconscious, that we don't even realize how some of these woundings, maybe from childhood, are how much they impact us and stop us from believing in ourselves, loving ourselves. And so then I think sometimes we can get attracted to getting in relationships. And I think we are drawn and attracted to certain people because we're drawn and attracted to them for a reason. If we're not standing up for ourselves and loving ourselves, we'll probably be drawn and attracted to people who are happy we're in that energy because they can be in that energy too. We're kind of on the same page. And we can get in relationships with people and we put in work and effort to work together with them, thinking it's going to work out the way we want. But if we still haven't dealt with those things that make us defensive, we're going to keep being defensive in that next friendship or relationship. And some people during the course of those friendships or relationships, what do we do when we get in a relationship with someone where we're on the same page, regardless of how much our life might be in the ditch, right? Because at any stage of our life, whatever stage of life we're at, we kind of think it's just and fair to live our life like that because that's where we're at. That's how we're viewing life and living life. Well, then at any of those phases of life, it doesn't matter what spectrum of life circumstances people are at, they're probably going to find some people to work with, right? Well, when we work together with other people, it can provide a sense of stability, community that we have to work with. Well, when some people are in a place that seems to be providing some stability and community, and if we're kind of on the same page and we're kind of being loving and encouraging and supportive of each other, some people do get inspired to do some of this inner work within themselves, and some of the other people don't. They kind of start to, because, and partly they could do it because they want it to keep moving forward, so they could actually think that some of the people they're in relationship with will be proud and happy that they did some of this inner work. And they could have done it because, like, if I view that person as a more just, fair, stable, balanced loving person if I kind of keep being defensive or being immature or whatever it is, haven't healed. um I could sabotage this relationship. And so then some people do some of this inner work to look at life differently, to get more balance within themselves and free themselves from some things that used to manipulate them. And then they could kind of feel like, oh, now we're like again on the same page. And aren't you happy that I freed myself from some things? And like now we can work more cooperatively on the same page. And that can be when some people are like, I don't want to be in a relationship with you anymore. If I wanted to be in a relationship with someone, so that's when you kind of find out that some people present themselves as more stable, grounded, like they have your best interest at heart, and that they're this loving, nurturing, supportive, encouraging person because they want you to love and believe in yourself. But really, they kind of want you to maybe do some work to heal or grow or mature yourself some way because that's good for their ego and their image. But it always was more about them and their ego and their image. But you were always supposed to stay more handicapped and manipulated, and they like playing the role of like the more emotionally mature, stable, grounded, or whatever person. And if you do the work within yourself to kind of get on the same page as them, where then, you know here again, I was kind of talking about these kind of codependent relationships where like a parent child dynamic. And then you find out that the person you're in a relationship with, whether it was romantic or friendship, they kind of like that. Well, I'm kind of like the parent and you're kind of like the child. You're the one who has to change and heal and grow and mature yourself. You view me as the more stable, grounded, mature person. But then if you do the work within yourself to get the justice you deserve, and you're standing up for yourself and you're kind of ready to move forward in your truth in a more just, fair, balanced relationship, it's like, well, then it is more of like a peer to peer kind of relationship. And then the people who is kind of more like the parent or the teacher in your life, then it challenges them to have to heal and grow and mature themselves to keep moving forward in the relationship. And some people are like, no, I don't want to do that. I'll just go find, you can go, and I'll go find someone else, and I'll repeat this pattern with the next person. So some of the people, that you could kind of feel were a real counterpart to you in a way, you didn't really see with some of those people that the truth was that when it comes to them having to work through their issues to keep moving forward with you, that's when they're not willing to offer love to those things, to maybe look at life differently. And that can be, I have this way of viewing life, I have this way of viewing myself, I have this way of viewing the workplace, or I have this view of relationship dynamics that I think is just and fair. And I'm defensive to your philosophy of life because your philosophy of life is different. And for some people, it could be that a shadowy Taurus relationship can be where people don't maybe want to see the truth of it within themselves, but it is kind of a little more transactional and codependent. And whoever has kind of more of these things of the world that they look like they have justice in their worldly nature, their status, their image, whatever, social clout, attractiveness, whatever it is, that they think, well, other people will want to be in a relationship with me because of these reasons. I can act shadowy, awakening, hangman, Pisces is kind of being a little prideful and egotistical. Shadowy Taurus can be a little prideful, egotistical. Shadowy Libra. Um, this is my truth, and I think this is just and fair. And if you don't think it's just and fair, well, you can go, I'm going to defend my viewpoint of life. And I think in shadowy, it should be a little bit more about them kind of being indulged in their shadowy way of being, in their handicap, their pride, their ego, their bossiness, their immaturity, not really wanting to do love, wanting to live more from their mind than their heart, maybe be more about the ego or the image. It is maybe more superficial and shallow. But because shadowy Taurus philosophy of relationship is that whoever seems to have more of what people want is kind of more about them. And because they have that philosophy of life, they can be very afraid of being in a relationship with someone who's offering them love, because they could have this fear that that handicaps them, that then, afraid that if they were to do love and people knew they loved them, maybe because of some experiences they've gone through in their life, that those people will use the love that they have for them to manipulate them, which could be what happened when they were growing up and had some other previous experiences in life. Well, the whole thing is seeing the truth about the different people that we're working with. But we'd also have to see the truth about some of the people we were working with in the past. And that can be the sticking point. The truth sets us free. And some people are like, I don't want to see the truth that I'm defensive to love because of some of the people I might have grown up with that I felt kind of used the love that I had for them to manipulate me. Because they have fond memories of those people. And they're defensive to maybe seeing the truth of some of those people's ways of interacting in friendship and relationship and family. And maybe not inspired to listen more to their intuition that not everybody does try to manipulate and control people. Not everybody abuses their power and authority in relationships. But some people do, but we'd have to be willing to see the truth and know that I have learned these lessons in life and I have dealt with these different types of people in the world. And I have learned to stand up for myself and what I believe in. And I know there's some people in the world that create illusions, don't do love, are more immature, are more stubborn, are more prideful. But I've learned that. And now, High Vibe Virgo, I'm going to take those lessons that I've learned. I'm not going to let the fact that I dealt with shadowy people keep me stuck. I want the justice I deserve. And I am going to stand up for myself, and I'm going to keep moving forward, and I'm going to get to know people and listen to my intuition about the different people I meet and get to know them. And if I find out that, oh, you seem to kind of have a shadowy philosophy of life, I think you try to tempt people more in their wounding, in their fear, in their lust, in their greed, in their pride, in their ego, in their worldly nature. And I don't think that you're someone who really works together with people being more authentic and less about the ego and the image. And I'm not going with those lessons that I've learned. I can use that to navigate and learning to listen to our intuition. And sometimes in our past, we didn't listen to our intuition. We wanted those things that we wanted. We liked someone. We were caught up in the illusion of who they were. We wanted the justice we wanted. We wanted a victory worth defending. And we could have gotten all caught up in these things more manipulated by these things of the world and we maybe didn't see how we were drawn and attracted to certain people. And so, if we're drawn and attracted to certain people, we're drawn and attracted to them for a reason. Now, we can be drawn and attracted to certain people, and we can know right away, like, nope, that is like my handicap. Like, and this card too could be, some people have a lot of people trying to offer them love and encouragement, and they're like, no, I'm good. I'm going to sit here emotionally. That's a feminine figure. And some people like to live their life like that. Oh, poor, poor, pitiful me. Oh, you know, maybe I play the wounded party. Maybe I play nothing ever works out for me. And I want all these people to kind of indulge me in my poor, poor, pitiful me. Things didn't work out for me. And that's how some people like to live their life. Some of the people who are stressed about love, who didn't want to move forward with people who wanted to do love, then play the poor, poor, pitiful me because, of course, I don't want people to realize that I had people offering me love and encouragement, but that means I had to look at life differently. I wasn't willing to look at life differently. I decided it was just and fair to be defensive and stubborn, and I'll just play the poor, poor, pitiful me again. And some people do that. Okay, let's jump to the end here. What's coming up for some people who harness some high vibe Virgo energy? They've learned some lessons in life. They know some people aren't who they present themselves as being, that some people are more superficial and shallow. Some people are more about themselves, or poor, poor, pitiful me, or don't want to get out of their ego, don't want to get out of their defensiveness, don't want to deal with the truth. And instead, they're working with people who are working together with them, and they have new beginnings. They've detached from some old foundations. They're investing in some new foundations, listening to their intuition, moving forward in life, probably ready to close out. It's kind of all these phases of detaching from the past. We can initially move away, but then emotionally we have to do this work. And then emotionally we can invest and take action to get relationships. It's all part of the detaching process. But having these new beginnings, and then detaching from investing in a way of viewing life and living life like we used to, and then closing out emotionally an old chapter of life to go have new beginnings. And while you're doing that, some other people are going to keep repeating the same way that they were living life, just with other people. What's coming up for the high vibe people they might not see coming? The Seven of Cups. Why? Because of the Eight of Cups. So from the 1 to the 9 is the Eight of Cups. The Eight of Cups walks away from the Seven of Cups, and you're going towards the Seven of Cups. But again, the Seven of Cups and the sevens are these tipping points where before you could have been more caught up emotionally in the illusion of the world, and more caught up in people, and more kind of driven and motivated more by your more codependent energy, living more from your mind than your heart, repeating certain patterns. You have looked at life differently. You have gotten more balance within yourself. You have stood up for yourself. And you offered love to yourself to detach from that old way of viewing life that was kind of crippling you and keeping you stuck. And now you're tipped more in favor of aligning with and investing in your more hopeful, believing, loving nature. And in your free will, you had the free will to do that. But I think, for the first 30, 40 years of our life, we're pretty caught up in the world. We're really caught up in the illusion of the world. And we have all these things to work through before we're kind of awakened to the truth. I need to learn. I view high vibe High vibe, Seven of Wands, high vibe Leo. I view high vibe Leo as learning to love and believe in ourselves, be more independent, give ourselves the things that we wish other people would have given us. It's not to look outside of myself for the answer. The answer lies within me. And when I invest in loving me and knowing my own worth and value, I quit looking to the outside world to validate my worth and value. I offer people truth and love. That's the highest energy I can offer people. And if people are motivated and inspired to work together with me in that energy, great. If they're not, I'm not going to let it keep me stuck. I'm not going to. I can be a loving and encouraging person to people from a distance. I'm not going to get in a more involved relationship with them. Until they do this work to free themselves, I wish you peace. But some of those people, they don't look at life differently. They're still looking to the world based on their status or their image or who they're in a relationship with or if they're not in a relationship. And it can be to get in friendships and relationships to look like they have justice in the world, like they have what other people have in the world, but it's more out of ego, and they still, all the same things that used to manipulate them still manipulate them. Like people can get a new job, a new friend, getting a new job, a new relationship, but they still view life the same way they view it. They haven't changed, but it makes it look like they've changed and they've moved forward, but they really haven't invested in the truth. So that's kind of what shadowy people do. I want to look like I'm doing what other people are doing. Look, I healed. Look, I grew up. Look, I moved on. Look, I'm not the same person I used to be. But it's kind of codependent on, it's more creating an illusion of who they are than that authentically being who they are. They didn't really do the inner work within themselves. Okay. So, and the Seven of Cups can be, here we have the Six of Cups. We get in new friendships and relationships. We kind of work through our fears of, and getting to know people. And then the people that we think, that they are more on the same page. And those are the people that we move forward with. And then we have these new beginnings. So I think you've become emotionally free of something in your past and having a new beginning, believing in yourself, believing in your dreams. Is everything that you go invest in going to work out maybe the way you want? No, but you believe in yourself that you can pick yourself up again. That's like high vibe Scorpio. I want to go on the roller coaster of life. I want to explore the mysteries of life, and I want to get to know myself emotionally. And I know everything I go pursue isn't going to work out the way I want, but I believe I can. I love myself enough that I can pick myself back up again. And some other people haven't learned to do that. And that's why they have a lot of fear of love. And they invest more in operating from their defensive egoic nature. I want to be in relationships. I'll create an illusion that it's love, but I'm defensive to love because I don't feel like I could pick myself up again. And I'll work together with people in a relationship, but eventually the people in their life realize that it's kind of more of the illusion of love than love. And eventually those people move on and then they're defensive again. It's like, but this looks good by worldly standards. Why aren't you willing to stay in it? Well, the end all be all wasn't just to be in a relationship and I can like you and I can enjoy your company and I can have love for you. But if you're not willing to let your more authentic nature out to play in the world, I'm in a relationship with like your false persona, your egoic nature, your cardboard cutout person. And it might have a lot of these things in the world that in my worldly nature I'm tempted by, but I'm not willing to sacrifice love for those things. I have a dream of working together with people who want to be in a deep, meaningful relationship. And you want to keep repeating this pattern because you're afraid of love. And I'm not going to stay stuck with you. But if you want to stay stuck You just need to find someone else or the next person who doesn't know about people like you for that person to get in a relationship with you and decide if they're willing to stay, if that's their truth, or to stay stuck in a relationship where it seems by worldly standards like it has a lot of the things people could want, but it's not really love. That's their free will choice, but I can't do this. So I'm going to move on. What's coming up for the people who think it's just and fair to defend their way of looking at life, which is being tipped emotionally more in favor of being more about themselves or these things of the world? What's coming up for them that they don't see coming? Oh, and as you high vibe people are moving forward, there's going to be other people that you're going to meet and other people in the world that are doing some of the same work as you that are going to move forward with you. You know, from the Eight of Cups down to the Seven of Cups, we quit investing emotionally in what we see is the illusion to invest in what does seem more authentic. And just like you're doing that in the world, other people are doing that in the world. What's coming up for the shadowy people? They don't see coming the Fool card. Why? Because of the Queen of Swords. So the Queen of Swords can be because people, just like other people, have been betrayed before. Some of those people are like, I'm not willing to do it. I'm not willing to take a leap of faith in love. Nope. I don't care if I'm missing an opportunity in love. This is how I view life. This is what I've decided is just and fair. And they are going to keep repeating that pattern. And because of it, there's other people in their life who kind of feel betrayed because they thought they were going to take a leap of faith to move forward in love. And some of those people are going to take a leap of faith away from them to go pursue their dreams. And everybody can kind of feel betrayed. You know, if you're someone motivated and inspired by love, you think everybody's motivated and inspired by love, and that's not the truth. And some people who think, oh, if I can just get someone in a relationship with me and it looks like it has all these things of the world that we want, and we look like shining stars, I'm sure they'll give up their dreams and settle for the illusion. And some people will. It's just some people won't. So what they don't see coming is the more high vibrational people in their life have been offering them love and encouragement to move forward with them, and they keep saying, nope, I'm going to keep doing this. And eventually some of the high vibe people in their life see the truth. You keep doing that. I want to go move forward like this. Our truth is different. Our dreams are different. Our truth is different. Our long-term goals are different. Our idea of the dream life is different. And I'm going to let you do that. And I'm going to invest in loving myself and healing myself to work through the emotional confusion and illusion of it, to emotionally become independent of it and go work with people where I can get justice. Because your idea of what you think is just and fair is different than my idea of what I think is just and fair. Yeah, I view in Libra energy, which is a justice card, as the King of Swords. And, you know, emotionally, we all have our idea of what we think is just and fair. So, while more high vibe people kind of leave their life, you know, are they going to have someone new? Yeah, if by worldly standards, you know, they look like they have justice in the world in some way, people are going to view them as someone who seems to have these things of the world that we all can be attracted to: stability, security, attractive, charming, money, status, power. Yeah, there's going to be other people. And with some of those people, the same thing will happen. And for some of them, they keep being upset. Why does this keep happening? People get in a relationship with me, they put in work and effort, but they don't want to see the truth that they're defensive kind of being willing to work together with people more cooperatively from love. And ultimately, they will probably end up in a relationship with someone else who's happy they live their life this way, because so do they. And it could be two people who kind of indulge, you know, they're more egoic nature, defensive nature. I don't have to learn lessons in life. And if they both view life the same way, that's a just and fair relationship. If they're both more about the ego and the image and the status, then they'll both stay in the relationship more because of the ego and the image and the status. But in shadow, the Queen of Swords isn't a very emotionally nice person, male or female. They're kind of more inspired by how it just benefits them. Well, this works for me. I had other people that wanted me to grow and heal and mature myself. How dare they? I have fear of love. We're not really going to do love, right? No. We're going to work together, maybe more because we both feel stuck, because we think it's just and fair to be defensive, and we feel betrayed by people who love themselves enough not to keep indulging us in our defensiveness. I'll indulge you in your defensiveness because I'm defensive too. Okay? So now we have two people that are defensive. But, until they see the truth that the people who they do end up aligning with are happy they don't change, which might work for them because maybe some of them don't want to change. But shadowy energy means that things stay stagnant and they stay the same. That's the Six of Cups. Repeating an old pattern, being in a mental prison, feeling you missed an opportunity in love, but you invested more in being unwilling to look at life from any other perspective. You have your way of viewing life that you defend. That's your truth. You're sticking to it. It's like, okay. And other people moved on. And then being in a mental prison that other relationship didn't work out, but someone else is willing to be in a relationship with you. But again, you could feel stuck, that you didn't get the justice you want, because of always feeling like things didn't work out the way they wanted. Well, it's not all about them. But that could be what they think it's supposed to. You're either willing to work together with people in love and offer them truth and love, or you think, I'm looking for someone to love me. And then it's all about them. And then people get in relationships with them, offer them love, but because they don't trust people or believe that they deserve love or defensive to love or defensive to taking that leap of faith, other people move on. And some people don't want to see the truth. So they will reap what they have sown. Other people will be defensive to them. More people who are more not as stubborn or prideful or egotistical or immature or superficial and shallow will be defensive to taking a leap of faith with them. And the people who do defend them are other people who probably have that same attitude in life. And then they're like, how did this happen again that I'm repeating the same pattern? I thought I was going to move forward. I thought I was going to have a new beginning. You can get in different friendships, jobs, and relationships, but if you haven't changed, you are still you. Of course, some people, again, they're just shadowy Aquarius, can be they're just more about themselves. Well, I think I am the shining star and it should be all about me. Well, as long as they keep viewing life like that, this is going to keep happening because they keep defending their more self-centered, egotistical way of living life. That it should be more about them, and they indulge their more immature nature They know other people who indulge our more immature nature or worldly nature. They might think that other people, they might not be seeing things clearly. They could see other people that seem to have these things that they want in the world, but how they think those people are going about that, they're not seeing it clearly. We can all know people who seem to be a little bossy, a little controlling, whatever, but those people in their relationships could, you know, be working together cooperatively with people that they love. They're not just in relationships like being this bossy, controlling person or immature person and people just indulging them. They do maybe work more cooperatively with those people from love. And that's some people think, well, I see those other people being kind of more bossy and controlling and immature, and it seems to work for them. But we don't know everything that goes on behind closed doors. Can they be that way? Yes. But with the people they work with, can they work together with those people more authentically and loving? Yes, but we don't really see that. And some people could think, boy, I'm going to emulate that person. And that person seems to have gotten what they wanted. But they don't realize that they're going about it from this, I don't know, just not seeing the truth of it. Well, that got kind of muddled, but we'll leave it there, Virgo. I think some shadowy people are going to repeat a pattern of the past. They're going to make decisions more out of ego or fear or codependency or defensiveness or to create an illusion that they're moving forward victoriously and successfully in some way, and they might get someone who's willing to move forward with them in that way. But you know the truth of who they were, and I don't think you really care anymore. You do you, and if the people are on the same page as you, then wonderful. You found someone. I would rather see people who are kind of shadowy in a relationship with another shadowy, someone who's on the same page as them than them trying to go manipulate a more loving person and trap that person in a relationship with them. And then, you know, that would be the better scenario. And then they'll just have to decide, if that keeps being their truth, they keep doing it. And you didn't want to do that, so you moved on and have become independent of them. And let them repeat that pattern with whatever friend group, family group, romantic relationship they want to. You knew you didn't enjoy it. And you're, I think, going to be very happy that you saw the truth and you invested in the truth. And you might see some people repeat some poor past patterns in the next relationship that might make some of the people in their life become defensive to them and see the truth about who they are too, and it's wasn't just you. And the truth eventually comes to light of who is more shadowy and prideful and immature and egotistical and defensive and whatever. But you're just going to let the divine let that play out in its own time. You don't have to do anything. In the meantime, you're just going to live your life. And kind of sometimes by you just living your life, it does kind of help illuminate that. But there you go, Virgo. I wish you peace, love, and joy. And we'll see you next time. Bye bye.